welcome to Eat These Words. Today I'm doing another recipe from this book here. I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago and I thought it would be a good idea to have a look and see what else has been forgotten about. Today I'm going to be doing a long forgotten pudding. And believe me, no one's heard of this. I've even looked it up on the internet, no one's heard of it. This is my Aunt Elizabeth pudding. Just stunning, isn't it? Again, it's out of my book from Florence Jack, and it's Cookery for Every Household. There you go. This is published in 1914, and in it there's a recipe for something called Aunt Elizabeth's pudding. And given that I'm Elizabeth, it's a no-brainer. So to start off with, what we need is stale breadcrumbs. You can just tear up stale bread and put it in your bowl, but you know, we'll go the extra mile, and I've made some stale breadcrumbs from old bread that I had. There's about 6 slices of a small loaf here, and that's going into my bowl. Now, the size of the bowl, I've got to say, is about an 8-inch oval bowl. Just get a bowl that looks good with the bread in it. That's my advice. That's all I've done here, because she doesn't stipulate in the recipe how big the bowl should be. And then we have to take 1 pint of milk, 1 pint of milk. I need to heat this up to boiling point. I'll be back with you when it's hot. So I've heated my milk to boiling point, and I just want to say that this milk is semi-skimmed milk. They probably used full fat milk in the day, but I don't have any, so don't come at me for that one. And it says to pour it over our breadcrumbs. That's what we're going to do. Pour it over. There we go. And leave it to sit for half an hour. So my bread and milk have been sitting for about half an hour or so, and I'm going to add 2 egg yolks. I separated 2 eggs before. We're going to use the whites later, but at the moment I've been asked to add 2 egg yolks. So I'm going to use a fork to incorporate it into my mixture as quickly as I can. Looks like it's going to make a custard of some description, so I'll just make sure that I get rid of all my egg yolks. The milk should have cooled down by now, so it won't curdle. I also need to add the zest of half a lemon. So I've got my lemon here, and I'm going to use my zester to... Remember guys, it's the yellow, not the white. Don't use the white. So that's my lemon zest in there. Give that a mix again. Smells lovely anyway. We've got to add a dessert spoonful of sugar. Now this is normal granulated sugar. It doesn't say anything about caster sugar. I noted in my ingredients before that later on we have to add caster sugar. So when it says sugar, I'm just putting in granulated sugar. 1 dessert spoon of granulated sugar has gone in there. So now I have to bake in a moderate oven, which is about a gas mark 4. I'll put the electric on here. Now we have to wait until it's firm to the touch. So I'll tell you what that is when I've done it. While my bread mixture's in the oven setting, what I'm going to do is whip up my egg whites. So it asks me to make them into stiff peaks, so I'm being a clever girl and I'm doing it. Might be here a while with a hand whisk. If these egg whites are okay, it shouldn't take long. But all I can say is give it a whisk. So I've beaten my egg whites up to a stiff froth, as you can see there. I've got to stir through some caster sugar, so I've got a tablespoon in my bowl. Pop this into our egg white mixture. So just sprinkle gently on the top. Fold that into the mixture, and you need to do that with either a spatula or a metal spoon such as this one. You can use any metal spoon, it's not the end of the world, and just gently fold it in is what it says. So that's what we're going to do. Fold it in, fold it in, fold it in. We can see where this is going now, can't we? And you'll have a mixture that looks something like that there. time to check your pudding. Now mine's been in just over half an hour. I had to put it on a little bit longer because it wasn't quite set in the middle. Could be because I don't have a shallower bowl, but it's going to depend on how much breadcrumbs you use and how big your bowl is. So half an hour for mine, maybe slightly longer for your rolls. I've got my mixture out of the oven. It has set, it's got a little bit of a jiggle in the middle there. It says to put some jam on top of your custard. So I've got 2 tablespoons of jam here. This is strawberry jam. It's any jam you want. You could use lemon curd if you wanted. Depends which way you're leaning at the time and what your preference is. Now, because this jam is cold and quite stiff, what I'm going to do with it is heat it up in the microwave just slightly so that I can spread it across the top of my custard. So give me 1 second. I heated my jam up for about 15 seconds for my 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to pop it on top of my pudding. Now, as it's the same temperature more or less as the pudding, we shouldn't have any problems, but we'll see. You know how it is. May need slightly more, may need slightly less, I don't know. We'll go with it. So spread it out. It says there's strawberry. We didn't want that, but never mind. And we need to cover our pudding. Oops. Preferably without taking the skin off it. I think it's going to need more. It said 2 tablespoons. Perhaps their tablespoons were slightly bigger in them days. I don't know. But we'll put some more in, and I'll pop this just on top. So that's 3 tablespoons I've used for my dish. It's them darn strawberries. Raspberry would have been better in this because it's easier to spread, I have to say, and you don't get the big chunks of strawberries in it. So spread it out. And then it says to lay your meringue on top. So as you can see, we're talking, it's like a queen of puddings, but this is called Auntie Elizabeth's pudding. Auntie Elizabeth, I'm an auntie and I'm Elizabeth, so there we go. So I'm just going to spread it out gently. Now you have to work fairly quickly. Now I have to say, this did not take long to whip up. It all, with a hand whisk, it took me, oh, let me think now. About 5 minutes. That was quite good for me, I thought. Right, so we're going to spread this out just on top, right up to the edges. And what it says to do finally, it says to add a couple of bits of glacé cherries to the top, which I'm going to do. So that's just 3 cherries quartered, 3 glacé cherries quartered. So I'm going to pop those on the top. There we go. Put it back in the oven until the top is browned. So that's what I'm going to do. Same oven, off we pop. So I've put that on for 30 minutes and we're going to come back in about 15 just to check on it to make sure it's okay. This is my Aunt Elizabeth pudding. Just look at that. Stunning, isn't it? Queen of Puddings is very similar, but it doesn't have the cherries on top. So let's see what it looks like. So if I just take a little bit from this corner, she says, there we go. And that's what it looks like. Look at that. Ooh. I'm going to top it off with a little bit of cream, which I'm sure is not traditional. So let's see what it's like. Light as a feather. Not too sweet. Little bit of crunchy meringue on the top. A lovely light interior, which in the late 1800s, early 1900s, meals were quite rich. So this is just probably a lovely light dessert. Yummy. Really nice. And a very cheap dessert to make as well. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more old-fashioned puddings, let me know by hitting me up with a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. There's a lot of people who watch my channel that don't subscribe, but it would be appreciated if you could subscribe. Just hit the subscribe button below, and if you want to be notified of my videos coming out, then just hit the bell on the side. It doesn't cost anything. Anyway, for now, Liz out.